ESPN is saying the Lions are placing cornerback Emmanuel Moseley on injury reserve. He is eligible to come back. Detroit also keeping guard Christian Mahogany on the non-football injury list.
It's time.
You know what time it is.
The game for Tuscaloosa's longest running sports show.
The biggest goal of our team,
especially in the first half,
we at Bama, we're trying to be the best. Always is to win a national championship.
Something cool to look back on.
We don't want to waste a failure.
You're inside the game.
John Mechie on the ground.
Appreciate your interest in the game.
On your home for Alabama sports.
Alabama wins.
Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. And now, here's your award-winning host, Ryan Fowler.
And a big good afternoon to you. Welcome into the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Remember to download the Tide 100.9 app. It is a free download, Android, iPhone, Google Play. Listen to all of our shows, morning 6 a.m. with with Martin Houston. 6 a.m., leading right into Wimp and Barry inside the locker room, 7 until 9. Gary Harris from 9 until 11, 11 until noon. Wyatt Fulton, T-Town Sports Daily. And then also leading right into Miller's Edge with Corey and Christian Miller. The one picking up every day starting at 2 o'clock. I'm going to be with you all the way until about 4:30, 4:45. I'm going to hand off to Wyatt and let those guys get you through the last 90 minutes. So we're going to be heading over to a big event. Coming up this evening, the Pigskin Kickoff. Going to be dynamic to have Nate Oates up on the stage. Nate is a gigantic when you look at what he's been able to do from Alabama basketball perspective. Talking Alabama basketball used to be a conversation before his arrival that would put people to sleep. Not anymore with Nate Oates. He's been able to energize this program the way that I describe it. It was asystole. If you live in the medical field, that's the flat line. That's where Alabama basketball was. You had to force people to talk about it. Now people want to talk about it because of what he's been able to create, this momentum around this program. So Nate Oates first up on the stage, then Cedric Burns will be there, athletic department relations, and then we'll hand off to one of the greatest players who ever wore the crimson jersey. John Hannah is going to be up on that stage, and it's going to be a ton of fun. We're going to be there 5:15, doors open. 5:15, doors open. The event starts at 6 o'clock. So you got a big barbecue happening. We'll talk to Drew DeArmond coming up here in just a couple of minutes. We've also got Kalen DeBoer audio that we're going to dive into. I can already tell the excitement of college football. I mean, we finally made it. I mean, it's 200 and think about the offseason that we have been through, right? Coach Saban retiring. Coming out of the Rose Bowl, we were all moaning and groaning. Alabama got beat by Michigan. Where was this dynasty going? Was it finished? Was it over? Was it one of those that when you look at Alabama Crimson Tide football, was Coach Saban going to be able to regain that fastball? Thought it was his best coaching job, but there would have been a lot of questions. Kalen DeBoer stepping in and kind of, maybe a little bit of a balancer when you talk about kind of stabilizing the water. If you've ever been on a big cruise ship, you look at a big cruise ship, how in the world does that thing float? The stabilizer's out to the side. Kalen DeBoer, in many ways, has been that. And you're starting to see some people that believe, but you're also seeing a lot of doubters as well when you look at this Alabama football team. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to discuss it. We'll take phone calls. We got Drew DeArmond coming up. And then coming up at 4 o'clock, we'll talk to Martin Houston. And we're going to dive in to a lot of different things. But we want to start here with Kalen DeBoer audio. I want to go to the opening clip. I was in that room a couple of hours ago. We had a offensive coordinator, Nick Sheridan, Kane Womack, back-to-back, and then here comes Kalen DeBoer. So about a 45-minute press conference with both coordinators and the head coach. I will say this, and you guys may have felt the same way. At this point of camp, because there's been so much access, I really don't have another question. I mean, I know that sounds really strange and weird, but I'm out of questions because we have had so much access to this coaching staff, to the players. You're coming through camp, and it's like, how much more can you ask about the football team? You talk about the right tackle spot. Okay, we're going to cover that. We're going to cover some injuries. Those are always significant updates. But from a standpoint of, we did not get a depth chart because I think one of the key reasons why that depth chart's still working. It's still working its way through. Let's start here with Kalen DeBoer audio clips. I'm getting a message from a media buddy of mine. He goes, me too, totally out. I am. I'm telling you, if they would have said, Ryan, you got the last 3 questions, I've got more questions this evening for Nate Oates than I do right now for Kalen DeBoer, because I want to see some play, and then I think we'll have tons and tons of questions around it. Let's start with Kalen DeBoer, the opening clips following today's media availability coming up at noon. This was the way he opened up that press conference.
Finally game week. So I'm sure just like everyone across the country and our fan base, our players are excited. So they've put a lot of work in. And the thing I guess I'm most impressed with is just how they've sustained a high level of energy, not just the first week or the first 2 weeks. They've really sustained a high level of energy, focus all the way through camp. And, Saturday was, I think, a great example for us. Had a great practice, just a lot of, just get to work. The same thing I would expect tomorrow, but you kind of get that week out and things like that. And I was just really impressed with our guys' mindset. And yesterday, again, just getting the guys together and getting their workouts and just the film sessions and just the level of attention to detail. They're excited to play and excited to hit someone else. Really looking forward to this Saturday against a Western Kentucky team that, coached by Coach Helton. A lot of respect. I know our staff has a lot of respect, both sides of the ball, myself included. We know Coach Helton's done a great job there at Western Kentucky, as well as the rest of his career. Going to be, a great football game. Got a coach with a offensive mindset. I think defensively we got to make sure we're aware of what they're going to do to attack us. And there's a lot of questions, I think, in both sides of the ball, all phases, especially the first game. Depth charts and things like that. You just pretty much looking at a roster and trying to place all the transfers and all the guys that are returning, especially on their team, trying to place those into spots that you might expect and figure out the numbers the best you can. So looking forward to another great week here going into the game, and excited about it where we're at.
Tuscaloosa Toyota powers the program each and every day. Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. If you're looking for a new Tundra, Tacoma, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive options, how about a 4Runner? You'll find those. But right now, we're offering 1.99 APR for 36 with a $2,000 loyalty cash at Tuscaloosa Toyota on the Tundra. The national sales event also includes the 2025 Toyota Camry, 3.99 APR for 36, and a vehicle that is averaging over 50 miles per gallon on the highway. You can see that at Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. We're going to Drew DeArmond coming up here in just a couple of minutes. We're 5 days away from Alabama Crimson Tide football. We continue this conversation and many others. Coming up next with Drew DeArmond, we'll set the stage. What is game week in T-Town? Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Now, this hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
District 3 Tuscaloosa City Council member Norman Crow says the more than $10 monthly increase to water and sewer bills proposed by Mayor Maddox will allow continued growth in the city. Labor Day is a week from today, and travel officials are expecting another record-breaking holiday weekend, up 9% over last Labor Day. And higher heat and humidity levels are moving back into West Alabama by Wednesday, even worse on Thursday. Showers and thunderstorms forecast at times over the rest of the week.
Have livestock or pets? Hall's Feed and Seed has livestock feed, pet food, shots, and worm. Hall's Feed and Seed, open Monday through Saturday at 114 2nd Avenue in Moundville.
DanielMooreArt.com. Daniel Moore Art celebrates those special moments of Alabama football history like 4th and 31, Jalen Milroe connected with Isaiah Bond, or the legacy continues with all the great memories of Alabama Crimson Tide football. You can celebrate Coach Saban with a Nick Saban print, the limited edition canvas. You could also find many of the great mini prints. Celebrate that special Alabama fan in your life. Daniel.
Higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A hot afternoon, a good supply of sunshine. The high today 96. For tonight, clear with the low at 69. Hot and dry tomorrow and Wednesday. Sunny both days. Highs in the mid to upper 90s between 95 and 98. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Light up those phone lines on the game.
There's one day here and the next day gone. Sometimes you bend, sometimes you stand, sometimes you turn your back to the wind. There's a world
Here we are.
outside
We are
that
now
don't
hours away, 5 days away, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union, alabamacu.com. Checking, savings, mortgage, home equity loan, financing a vehicle. Alabama Credit Union reminding us to remind you, 5 days away, R&R Cigars, locally owned and operated 2703 6th Street. 2703 6th Street in downtown Tuscaloosa. Relax and recharge. R&R Cigars. Greatly appreciate them for being a part of our show. We're going to get to phone calls coming up here in about 15 minutes. We're going to react to some things that Kalen DeBoer said, some things that Kane Womack said, and we're going to have some fun as well. And I got a special giveaway coming up here in just a couple of minutes. I think you guys are going to be super excited. So we'll do that coming up here on the game. But we'll also right now go to Drew DeArmond, 97.7 The Zone up in Huntsville. Drew, I hope you're having a great Monday. Welcome into the game in T-Town.
How you doing, Ryan?
Man, I'm incredible, man. It's a lot of fun. It's just something about, Kalen DeBoer was asked about butterflies. Drew, I don't get butterflies, but every now and then before a game, you go into the atmosphere, you can kind of cut the tension with a knife. You almost feel that way, not against Western Kentucky, but, just to get this era started with Kalen DeBoer and this coaching staff.
Well, yeah, I think everybody's anxious. I think the offseason has actually gone by much quicker than last year.
I agree.
Everybody wants to see this team play in all three phases because, again, the greatest place kicker of all time who's not eligible for the College Football Hall of Fame, though he scored more points than anybody in history because the rules are stupid, just made a 57-yard field goal for the Minnesota Vikings. He's not there. So you're anxious to see Graham Nicholson. Burnup's got rave reviews. I thought he had a great year last year, but you want to see Burnup. You want to see, is Ryan Williams involved with punt return, kickoff return, Kendrick Law. So the special teams even have some excitement to it because there is a big new piece at place kicker, some new blood at returner for the first time in a while that'll get a chance to showcase their talents. And then that's not to mention the offense and the defense. I thought the most kind of interesting thing Nick Saban said in his first go-around is I think, on College Game Day was that he was at the scrimmage, a week ago, a Saturday, and he really thought he was impressed by Alabama, especially defensively. And he was. I think it sounded like that maybe it's starting to kind of change his opinion on what kind of, defense Alabama might put on the field this year. I know he was concerned about the secondary, but I think he was impressed with what he saw. So I thought that was interesting. I think they played with a lot of urgency and physicality, which is what you like to hear. And then offensively, honestly, I'm not worried about this offense. I think you've got a quarterback with experience now in Jalen Milroe, a quarterback behind him in Ty Simpson that's maturing, and then you have an offensive staff that's at high level. I think they know how to build an offense. I think they know how to develop the quarterback position. They know how to bring players along. They've got an A1 wide receivers coach now. I'm excited about Brian Ellis at the tight end spot and what they can do with that position. And I already thought the running back room was being undervalued. So I'm just really excited to see this team play in all three phases and play for this coaching staff. Certainly, you remember Nick Saban's football teams. The majority of his time in Tuscaloosa, they were the biggest, baddest guys on the block. There's no doubt about that. Now, the last couple of years, maybe a little bit more penalized than usual. So I'm anxious to see how disciplined this football team is under Kalen DeBoer. But I think he's an elite-level head coach. I don't care where you're coaching. If you're 104-12, you know what you're doing. And just anxious to see this new era of Crimson Tide football starting at 6 o'clock inside Bryant-Denny Stadium against Western Kentucky on Saturday.
Yeah, Drew, when you look at it, when you think about fall camp opening up, okay, when you think about fall camp and where it is now, okay, think about where you were at July the 31st when it opened up the first day of camp. Would you say that you're more confident in this football team than you were then?
Yeah, no question. Based on what you've heard offensively, defensively, and in the kicking game, some development at the wide receiver spot, with Cole Adams, that's exciting. With Emmanuel Henderson continuing to do what he did in the spring, and that's to make plays, with Kendrick Law, and I know Law, it may have been passed on the depth chart by a couple of guys, but I still think he's talented. No question about it. I actually think that's more of a compliment to the wide receiver talent in the room. And then, of course, you keep hearing about Ryan Williams and the plays he's making, and it harkens back to Julio Jones. It harkens back to David Palmer for me when you would hear about guys making plays. And then, like I said, and then defensively, what you've heard, about guys like L.T. Overton, John Marion Latham. And I always harken back to when you change coaches and you put in a new system on both sides of the ball, a lot of times it's a new lease on life for certain guys. Certainly Nick Saban is the best to ever do it, but I think Kalen DeBoer, is an elite level head coach himself, and I'm anxious to see what his coordinators, Nick Sheridan, and I know Kane Womack, they both spoke today. I'm anxious to see what they can do with some of these guys that maybe, like a Devontae Smith in the secondary, who's going to have a new lease on life, and like I just mentioned, Emmanuel Henderson, who has been hurt but also been kind of struggling, and Cole Adams. See what they can do under a better wide receiver coach than, in my opinion, in an offensive system. While Nick Saban did modernize his offense, he was a defensive head coach. I'm just anxious to see what an offensive head coach that's very aggressive can do with some of this talent.
Drew, I see so many different people that are picking Alabama, whether it's Dan Mullen or Ralph Russo, and I'm not trying to take away their opinion. Okay, but I would like to just come back and look at it. I want you to put your worst case scenario, because some of these folks don't even have Alabama in the playoffs. I think that would be a disaster of a year. I think it would take injuries at some of the key spots for Alabama not to be there. In my unbiased opinion, removing any bias, I think this is a playoff team. Last week you had 247 Sports that came out with a composite talent evaluation. Alabama, according to them, number one in the country when you look at the amount of talent on one roster. Georgia's second. Texas, I believe, was third. Ohio State was third. But Alabama's number one. When you look at this, can you wrap it around your head and say this team is not a playoff team in any way?
Only if there's severe injuries.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing that would keep them out, in my opinion. They're definitely a top three team in the SEC. Look, I'm gonna quote one of your favorite people, Ryan Fowler.
Oh, me. Okay, I'm ready.
And that's Coach Gene Stallings.
I love it.
The venerable Gene Stallings, and it's about Dan Darth Vader Mullen. And I'll say something that he said about Lee Corso years ago, when Lee Corso said Alabama was a high school team compared to the Tennessee Volunteers. We all know what happened in that 1990 game in Knoxville when Alabama continued to pay property taxes at that, dung hole of a stadium. He said there's a reason he's not coaching. Well, same thing with Dan Mullen. He couldn't recruit his mother, okay? That's why he's not coaching right now. He was at the University of Florida when Miami was bad and when the Seminoles had not gained traction under Mike Norvell yet, and the guy could not dominate the state of Florida because he can't recruit, okay? Period, end of story. He's a good head coach. He's not elite. He'll never be elite. I don't care what job he takes. He will never win a national championship, Ryan Fowler. Never, okay? Because he's not good enough. He did a great job at Mississippi State. He got to number one in the country. What happened when he played Alabama?
He always lost.
Always. He's never beat Nick Saban, and he never will, because I think Nick Saban is done coaching. So, again, Dan Mullen's a good football coach. He's not a poor coach by any stretch. But is he elite? Not even close. So there's that. He's not an elite football coach. And then Ralph Russo, he's too busy going to the Democratic National Convention, so I don't really care what he said.
Whose opinion do you value more, him or Dan Woken?
Dan Woken is the biggest – Woken, not Woken, Woken. He's the biggest embarrassment in the history of journalism. He needs to go cover Wimbledon and the U.S. Open, and then the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness and all that. He doesn't know squat about college football.
Good. I'd probably put him in that basketball category too. I mean, he's down there with Ryan Fowler on the basketball side of things.
No, Ryan, you're Bill Raftery compared to Dan Woken when it comes to if you want to talk college basketball and Woken's trying to talk basketball or football. you're Bill Raftery or somebody
and for those who don't know, let me kind of fill in. Bruce Pearl put up
Bino Cook. You're Bino Cook or Bill Raftery compared to Dan Woken.
Hey, I had a great conversation with my folks, the younger folks, trying to explain about Bino Cook. Man, I loved Bino, but Dan Woken. Let me kind of point this out there where we're going with this with Ralph Russo is Bruce Pearl, which we don't really side with a lot of things, but he quoted a tweet. Many people may or may not know, but Bruce Pearl is tied. He's Jewish, so he obviously cares what's happening over to Israel, and he's put up a tweet this morning. I mean, we're talking about a head basketball coach in the state. Thank you for pointing out that Senator Cotton, except my guess is like many of her socialist, woke, progressive beliefs, she's now changing them or hiding them to get elected. We won't get fooled again. That's Bruce Pearl. That is not a fake account. That is truly the Bruce Pearl question. Dan Woken comes back and says, serious question, has NIL changed the game such an extent that a college coach can say stuff like this on social media, not fear any negative recruiting impact in the household where the VP is like quiet popular? I guess my question would be if Dan Woken, if Bruce Pearl took the other side and he would have criticized the President Trump or any other conservative, would Dan Woken have said anything? Let me answer that. No.
He would have retweeted it and put a fist bump or something to that effect, because we all know he voted for the trash that's in the White House right now. And yes, I'll call it trash on the air because it's my right as an American to call these scumbags what they are.
Oh, Ty. Drew DeOrmond fired up on a Monday. All right, let's go back to the game. Saturday, you and I will sit side by side in that press box as we have for many, many years. And Drew, I love to hear Drew's commentary as we go through the game. Give me some things you're going to be watching.
Well, I'm going to be watching Jalen Milroe. I'm going to be watching him, how he goes through his progressions, how quickly he gets rid of the football. Are they using him as a runner? The design of the offense, the shifts, the motions, how they spread the ball around to the receivers, how many backs are playing, do they have a plan for three guys? In other words, we know Jam's been a little banged up, but Coach said he was going to play today. It doesn't surprise me. And then, Justice Haynes, Richard Young, who all is going to touch the ball? How many receivers are going to be in the rotation? 6, 7, 8. I think 6 at the least. Let's see how many. And then, of course, how is the tight end going to be involved? I think Dupree is a guy that can really make plays. I'm excited about it. I think the guy under the radar has been all camp has been Cuevas, because he understands the offense. He's made plays in every scrimmage. Can he exploit some people? And then, the Swamp Monster, Jaden Roberts, is supposed to be in the lineup. How long will he play? And if he's out of the lineup, is it Geno Vandermark? And then what's the rotation at right tackle? Those are kind of the questions for me offensively. And I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching to see how well Formby plays and Elijah Pritchett, because I think both of them will see action. So that's what I'm looking for offensively. Defensively, I'm just looking to see effort, defensive line, getting off blocks, making plays. Is this going to be a healthy version, a better version, of this defensive line than we've seen in a while? We'll see. Jaheim Otis, is he going to look like an all-SEC player? LT Overton, is he going to continue on the level that we've heard in fall camp? Because he's a former 5-star type player. Tim Smith, this is his last go-round. What's he going to look like? I want to see the linebackers, how the Wolf guys are used, like Quandarius Robinson, Keanu Koo, even Quay Russo, how many of those guys see action? And then, I definitely think Jihad and Deontay Lawson are going to do a good job. And then, of course, the secondary. The secondary was probably the biggest question coming into fall camp. Everything sounds very, very promising there. It sounds like Deshaun Jones and Damani Jackson are going to be the corners. That shouldn't surprise anyone. There's a reason you go into the portal and get guys. Sounds like they've been, the kind of players that they were hoped to be. But then you've got the 3 5-stars in Mbakwe, Zay Mincy, Xavier Brown. How much do they play? Sounds like they're all going to have some sort of role. And then, like I said, Devontae Smith. He's kind of been the guy nobody's talked about all camp. It's just kind of been steady as she goes. And you asked me a few weeks ago on your show to give me the top 3 leading tackler candidates, and you remember who I gave you. I gave you Deontay Lawson, but then the other 2 guys I gave you were Malachi Moore and Devontae Smith. So let's see how active Devontae Smith is and see if his waiting and also just changing coaching staffs can provide him the platform to become a great player. Because, I'll tell you this, and Ryan, you have a great memory. You know Alabama football as well as anyone. When we had our last coaching changeover 17 years ago, who benefited the most from that and became a star at the University of Alabama and a guy that's on paintings all over living rooms in the state?
Help me. What player? So you're saying from the transition from
Nick Saban, from Mike Shula to Nick Saban, and he used to be the sideline color analyst.
Rashad Johnson?
There you go.
Two-time captain and an All-American. Wow. And you know what, Rashad? I saw him posting. He's still part of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coaching staff. Man, I'm so proud to see what he's been able to do. And just a class, great ambassador of the University of Alabama. Nothing, and a guy that loves his faith too, man. He loves encouraging people, and I always love to hear Rashad talk, man. He's great.
Don't forget, he's from Sulligent, Alabama, small school. He was a running back, a walk-on running back at Alabama before he got switched to safety. And I'll tell you a funny story for you and your listeners. When I was in my former career in sales, I was at many different places, but I was at a store called Sports Mania, which is a Bama Fever type store that has they're dotted around the Birmingham and Huntsville and North Alabama areas. And I had a customer come in one time. It was several customers. It was a group of men that came in, and my coworker did not recognize him, but it was him and some of his guys. And of course, I believe his wife is from North Alabama in the Huntsville area. But the gentleman that was standing in front of said Rashad Johnson said, "Hey man, we're looking for a certain picture," and I was like, "Well, the one with him on it is in the back." And, of course, it was the interception in the end zone to break LSU's heart in the overtimes in 2008. And so they're like, "So you know who that is?" I was like, "Absolutely, I do, Mr. Rashad Johnson." And he actually started his coaching career in Huntsville. He was the defensive backs coach for a season at Grissom High School. So always proud of Rashad and what he's about and what he's done.
I mean, just to think about a walk-on. I've told him before this is a movie. This is a book. This is an encouragement. A young man who walked on. And that's when I think about walk-ons and how we're trying to eliminate that in the world of college football. And it kind of frustrates me a little bit because, we've had Levi Wallace. We've had Will Lowry. You've had a lot of specialists at Alabama. Look at Neil Hibbett right here. He was a walk-on at Alabama. Now he's one of the best snappers in college football. But you think about Rashad Johnson, a 9-year NFL career, a two-time captain. There's not many of those two-time captains, an All-American, from a walk-on to an All-American, and then played 9 years in the pros and now continues. And if you eliminate that walk-on possibility, then you're eliminating guys like Rashad Johnson. And that's almost like to seem like where his career would be without this. It just, in some ways it's a little frustrating to see the world of college football kind of turn away from walk-ons because they're such a very important part of your show.
Well, they are. And don't forget, if Dabo Swinney's not a walk-on that makes the Alabama team, does he ever get into coaching, and is he ever the head coach at Clemson?
Probably not.
So,
that answers
I say, there's been a lot of great stories. David Smith, the current SEC official, he was a walk-on that became the starting quarterback at the University of Alabama. So there's been a lot of great walk-ons, became really good players. As you know, Levi Wallace is one of my favorite stories, and I had an honor to interview him back when after his senior year at Alabama, and he's still going strong. I'm hoping he'll have a chance to make it 10 years in the league. He's getting up there. He's with Denver right now, and he's had a really good career. I think this is the third team he's been with after spending time with Buffalo and Pittsburgh. And Rashad, he might have made it 10-2. Some injuries kind of got him near the end of his career, but he certainly maximized his talent, and the guy was just a winner and a great young man. And I think Levi Wallace is the same way. I mean, he grew up in Arizona, but his parents were Alabama fans and had ties to the state. And he walked on for his dad, who, as we all know, the great story. And it's a sad one, though. He passed away before he ever saw Levi suit up for the Tide. But he suited up. We know what happened. The guy that he took the place of, in that 2017 game against Dirt Neck in Florida State is a pretty good player in the NFL named Trevon Diggs, and he took his place. And, iron sharpened iron, and both those guys have gone on to great NFL careers.
Judy Arman, 97.7 The Zone up in the Rocket City, the only sports station up in the Rocket City. Drew, I appreciate you, man, as always. I'll see you Saturday, man. Can't wait.
I'm looking forward to it, Ryan. It's going to be probably the most excited I've been because I did not cover Nick Saban's opener. So this will be really exciting to see Kalen DeBoer in this new Alabama era of of Alabama football, and I'm really looking forward to it, and I appreciate you for having me.
Hey, no doubt. Drew, have a great rest of your week, man. Try to pace yourself. See you later, man.
All right, see you.
Thank you. Judy Arman helping us out there. We're going to continue with more phone calls. Paul and Lincoln, we're going to get your reaction. What's on your mind? Let me tell you, the Wharf. If you're looking for a new pair of boots, Justin, Tony Lama, Red Wing, Georgia, Double H, Timberline, Laredo, and many more. You got 60 different brands of boots. You got different types of jeans, Wrangler, Levi Lee, Carhartt clothing, Rocky clothing, Under Armour clothing. It's the Wharf since 1976. It's right there on McFarland Boulevard. The old Winn-Dixie's there. They're now turning that into a new Aldi. But if you look at El Gran, you pass by El Gran, and then you got our good friends before you get to the Blue Plate. But it's on the right-hand side of the road as you travel westbound. Go over and see my friends Mark and Lee and tell them the game sent you. They're open until 6 p.m. It is the Wharf, the working
at buyfromjulio.com. Buyers must have qualified credit.
DEAL or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511 today. All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
The game is powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. David DeSantis, the largest selection of new Toyotas in over 3 years, can be found on Skyline Boulevard, 3325 Skyline Boulevard. Also a nice inventory of pre-owned inventory. You can find the new Tundra, the 2024, the Tacoma 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. How about a new 4Runner, Highlander, RAV4, Camry, Corolla? For those outside of Tuscaloosa, save
outdoors. It's the Tide Tailgate Show on 95.3 The Bear and Tide 100.9 WTBC 1230. Roll Tide.
For over 5 years in our community in downtown Northport under that Roll Tide Bridge, Mark's Mark, the home of the chicken swirl. You'll find that since 1978 in Selma, Alabama, for over 5 years in downtown Northport. If you want to dominate the grill today or any day, find Mark's Mark. A great stop by on your way home. If you're preparing for dinner, they've got a lot of those gourmet dishes that you can find, the great casseroles, the dips, the appetizers, the great steaks, the pork chops, the burgers, and all the supplies you need to dominate.
We thank you for trusting us to get you going for the past 39 years.
Northport Auto Supply. Why go anywhere else?
The Pharmacy at Midtown with TJ Thomas, 205-752-0627. PharmacyMidtown.com. Don't forget about the retail side of the Pharmacy at Midtown. It's an independent-owned pharmacy specializing in walk-in prescriptions, medicine on time packaging, which increases that independence. Compounding needs. The only sterile compounding facility in Tuscaloosa is the...
Another one bites the dust, and another one gone, and another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, hey.
I want to say hello to my good friends down in Tallahassee, Florida. Hope you guys are having a great Monday. Just wanted to say hello. Nothing. I didn't want to say anything. I just wanted to say hello. I hope you guys are having a great Monday, right? Paul and Lincoln, good afternoon, sir. You're in the game.
Ryan, well, we're one Roy Upchurch away from football Saturday, Ryan.
Man, what a moment. What a moment.
Speaking of Roy Upchurch, Ryan, you remember... I'm sure you do. You remember the catch he made at the end of the 2009 Iron Bowl from Greg McElroy into the right corner of the end zone to take the lead late in that game down in Boogville?
I sure do. Wow, what a moment. What a moment.
It was a moment, a great moment.
And I should have used that one for my Facebook, Twitter, all of that. I did not use that, and I should have.
Well, that'll anytime a play is made against the Lee County Booger Tigers, in my book, it's worth putting a frame around it. It's worth being on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. I mean, to see those clowns go down in defeat is it makes my day. It makes my season. It makes my year. So any pain that we can exert on the Bugs, I'm all for it. And my condolences, Ryan. I'll second your condolences to the FSU fan base. Has anybody located Danny Cannell? Is Danny Cannell okay? I'd heard he'd had some problems after the game. I'm just wondering, was he okay?
Danny, I don't know if anybody's heard from Danny. Danny's having a hard time, man. Undefeated. They were going to take Alabama's leftovers and make a national championship team, but it's not been a good year for Florida State. With the bowl game and being left out, being robbed out of that national title that they were going to win, and then here they are. You got to show up against Georgia Tech.
Just think, Ryan. Just think, you're basically out of the playoff picture in week 0. I mean, come on, it can't get much worse for that.
That was a whipping.
That wasn't by accident, Ryan. The rambling wreck of Georgia Tech completely wrecked the Seminoles. That was not a fluke. They beat them physically. They beat them mentally. They out-hit them. They out-toughed them. It was a beatdown. It was a thorough beatdown. Even though the score was close, it was. They got physically dominated at the point of attack. The Seminoles did, and it's gotten so bad now, Ryan. I see where there's members of some of the FSU boards. They're demanding their money back because of all of the press that their moderators were giving them, talking about how great the Seminoles are going to be this year. They got sold an empty bill of goods, and they're not happy about it, the fan base.
Well, and I was just thinking, Paul, and I guess I'd had a little bit of a nightmare because I have been very bullish on this team. I believe in this team. I think this team, I was on another show and I said this, and I put a disclaimer in there. I think this team has what it takes to win a championship. I really do. I think this team could make it to Atlanta if they have, stay away from the injury bug. Stay away. I think this team is, as very talented football team. I'm very confident that this team. But I did get to thinking about what if they stumble out of the game? What if they lose to one of these teams like Western Kentucky or one of the others? I'm going, man, I guess you guys will be asking for a refund of what you paid for Tide 100.9's free app, I guess, or maybe you guys.
Well, no, Ryan, I'm right with you. I'm as bullish on Alabama as you are. And if they stumble coming out of the gate, they stumble. I mean, it's our opinion. I mean, we still have some semblance of our own opinion in this country. Right now, it's kind of iffy, but we can voice our opinion. And I'm like you. I think I'm very bullish on this football team. Certainly the offense, and I'm thinking the defense is going to be a little bit better, than maybe as they were advertised as. So, I'll put it this way. I would be absolutely shocked if we looked as bad as Florida State did.
Yeah, man, they looked bad.
And they looked bad.
They looked awful.
They looked terrible.
Like, what did they
spend?
Looked
bad.
Eating Cheerios during camp, having a, ice cream eating. I don't know. I mean, like, what did you guys do to prepare this? And I almost wonder if you will have people now that will not choose to go to these overseas games, because I do think it's not saying that was all their excuses, but Florida State's probably going to look for as many as they possibly can find. That may be one that actually sticks. But Paul, people are wanting to know, because I'm getting messages left and right. Paul, you did not start this call like you normally do, and people are a little bit concerned. So is there
concerned? Well, sure. I mean, I did mention the Bugs with the Roy Upchurch reference, but let's start. Let's start all over, Ryan. Let's everybody hold hands, and let's embrace the suck.
How do you spell that?
That is SAUCK. Okay. Again, that's SAUCK.
And that's beautiful. It's beautiful. It just
that AU stands for the Auburn Tigers. That's what that suck stands for.
And by the way, we're playing former Auburn Tiger TJ Finley, the Western Kentucky quarterback.
TJ Finley, yeah, the one that they bitched the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos in favor of TJ Finley, if you remember back in 2021.
So, well, who does the Auburn Tigers have this weekend? Big, powerful.
They've got the formidable Alabama A&M. They're not. I don't think they're the Hornets. I'm not sure what. They're the Bulldogs. They're the Bulldogs. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huntsville,
It'll be a little different version of the Bulldogs than the one that they'll face in Athens, their first game in October. Because they have their first 5 games. Their schedule is manufactured to have their first 5 games in Lee County. So, I think the Boise Bandit, I think his second year, they had their first 5 games at home. So it's amazing how they get that done.
Yeah, Auburn is so bad you can't even find them on the first page of ESPN. You got to go to like page 2 or 3 to even find them. And big 6:30 game. At least, the Auburn fans will be able to go in and they. Well, I was going to say they should get a victory. I think they will. Yeah.
I tell you what, Ryan, I'm upset with Nick Saban. I'm very upset with Nick Saban.
What did Coach Saban do to you?
He picked the Auburn Tigers as the surprise team in the SEC.
You think he's trolling?
Well, I don't even like for him to think that, much less say it on national television.
Well, that was Superman's kryptonite though down there. So maybe that's
sure was.
Yeah, Coach.
I'm hoping.
Kalen DeBoer, please, if you want to do anything different than Coach Saban, play better in Lee County. Play better in Lee
County, and take a 5-game winning streak to Lee County next in November of 25. This is fear the thumb year, Ryan. As I always say, fear the thumb, you bugs, because it's going down. We're going to beat you clowns by 40. That was one of our hot takes back in June. We're taking the Bugs down by 40 in Nick Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium come November.
There we go. Hey, Paul.
Beat them by 40.
Appreciate you as always, man.
Roll Tide and roll MAGA.
Paul and Lincoln checking in on a Monday afternoon. We're going to continue. Robert in Mobile, get ready. We're coming to you. Wayne in Northport, I see you. We're coming to you. Stephen in Raleigh, North Carolina, we're coming to you. We do have a line available, 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. We'll take more of your phone calls coming up.
It's the longest running sports show in Tuscaloosa. You're listening.
Great offensive coordinators. And if you guys have ever listened to this show before, you know that I'm a huge, gigantic fan of Lane Kiffin. I thought Lane Kiffin did some of the best play calling. I even, watched Nick Saban talk about Lane Kiffin as a brilliant play caller. Great play callers adjust to the personnel that's on their football field, on their team. Kalen DeBoer was asked about this schematic-wise. What would you adjust? Here is this comment when you look back at Kalen DeBoer talking about, how would you adjust? Because he said this on day number 1 when he was hired at the University of Alabama. What's your offensive scheme? Well, it all depends on the personnel. This is how he answered that question earlier today.
Yeah, I think every year. It isn't even just about one school to another. I think it's the roster you have. And each year that gets tweaked a little bit. You might be running back, with a little more depth, or tight ends, is your one of your key areas. I think we're very balanced across all of the skill positions. And then, of course, you look at your quarterback, you look at the strength, what you can do offensive line-wise. And so it's never exactly from one year to the next, even if there's a lot of continuity, because you're going to lose someone. So there's certainly some adjustments that Coach Sheridan, our staff, has done in really working with the personnel. So that will continue to evolve as the season goes along. You have guys that continue to improve, especially younger guys or guys that are kind of taking those next steps. They'll make those big steps, and you'll really incorporate them, and it might be a package at some point that they're incorporated in, and then all of a sudden it's something where they're a regular player and maybe even a starter.
Topics of conversation when you look at this personnel, this offense that has devolved and evolved to adapt to where we're at. Robert in Mobile, we're going to get you coming up here in 2 minutes. You're going to lead us out of the 3 o'clock hour. Wayne and North. I don't really have another choice here, but I'll say this. I have a couple of different ways. You got the app message as an option. You can send us an app message. You can also send us a tweet. I have a couple of tickets for this evening to go and hear Nate Oates talk, Cedric Burns, and John Hanna, the Pro Football College Football Hall of Fame. It's courtesy of my good friend, David Harden. So David had a couple of tickets donated back to him, and I'm just giving those away. So if you have an interest in a pair of tickets, you can find a way to contact us. I would say call us, but the phone lines are literally jammed up. They are super, super, super jammed up. Let's go to Stephen in Raleigh, North Carolina. Stephen, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Good afternoon, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm outstanding, man. It's I'll be honest with you, Stephen. I'm trying to pace myself.
Right.
I'm literally like I'm almost WWE style. You know what I mean? I'm trying to control my emotions. It's football season, man. It's football season. We've been waiting 230 something days for this.
But, Ryan, you can't jump off the top rope the first week. You got to build yourself up to that sometime later on.
We've been an hour and 23 minutes in. I've already predicted Alabama to win a national title, or at least once. I don't know where I'll be Saturday, but no, I think this team does have a chance to win a title. I do. I think if they can manage the injury bug, I think this team is talented. Because Florida State is a confirmation of something we've been saying throughout the offseason. It's very simple. This is a new college football. What won 5 years ago would be dominating now. But I also don't think these teams could compete 5 years ago.
Ryan, I wonder if those 4 players that transferred to Florida State from Alabama, they're sitting in that locker room, seeing the culture that's there versus here. I got to think those guys knew, had an inkling about what was coming Saturday. Ryan, Florida State can't even win the state of Georgia, much less a national championship, for example.
That's a good point.
That team whined and cried for 2 months or however long, for a month and a half, because they weren't chosen. And then the culture of that team, Ryan, was to quit. The entire team quit on him. They opted out. They transferred. And then they come play another Georgia team. And, Ryan, I know the score was close, but the lines of scrimmages were not close. Georgia Tech beat them at the line of scrimmage, and it was obvious throughout the game. It's week 1 now. That was week 0. Alabama's got Western. Ironically, I believe Alabama opened up with Western Carolina with Nick Saban as his first game. Is that not correct?
Oh, I'd have to go back. I don't know.
Western Kentucky.
I don't know. I'm on. You may know more. I don't have that 2007 schedule, but I can in probably 2 seconds. The first game. Are you sure though?
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
No. You might as well, because you were close. Western Carolina. You were right on it. It was a 52-6 win, 52-6. That's what got the Nick Saban era started. Then they went and played, Vanderbilt, 24-10, Arkansas, 41-38, and then they played Georgia.
I'm getting my directional schools all of a sudden, Ryan. I'm getting my directional schools mixed up right now. Are we playing Western Carolina or Western Kentucky?
Western Kentucky, yeah.
Yeah, I am thinking about. So it's Western Carolina that Nick Saban opened up with, and we're opening up with Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I did notice that Nick Saban said he watched that second scrimmage. Did you hear him say that?
Yeah, I also, and I know Nick Saban's got an ego like everybody else. You noticed Nick Saban was covering his bases, do you not?
Oh, I did. Yeah. He said if Alabama figures out the secondary, I believe this is what he said, that they're going to be they could, play with anybody. They're going to be right there.
He's covering his bases, man. He's covering his bases. He wants to, listen, he wants to be right. I mean, he's not going to be out there. And I get it. Listen, and if I was one of these coaches having to listen to him throw rat poison out there, as he said on Friday with Pat McAfee, he said, I was kind of throwing out some reverse rat poison. Let these other coaches deal with what I had to deal with for all those years. And I love that about Coach Saban. I mean, he's kind of he likes to smack talk. We didn't ever see this in the media. We did sometimes, but he loves to kind of throw it out there a little bit.
The starting quarterback for Western Kentucky, this is his third start against Alabama. One for LSU in 2021, I believe. One for Auburn in 22. What's his name, TJ Finley?
It is.
He started for LSU against us. He started for Auburn against us, and now he started for Western Kentucky against us.
It'll be the third time that we have played TJ Finley. Wow.
When your colleges look like a roll-a-dial of he's going to LSU to Auburn. He's going downhill. He might have gone down. LSU, Auburn, Texas State, and now Western Kentucky. And, they actually benched the Auburn quarterback, the Oregon quarterback, the starting quarterback for Denver right now, Bo Nix, for TJ Finley at one time. Auburn did. So just wild times in college football, Ryan. I'm excited about the week. There's still no college football talk here in North Carolina. They're talking it's all pros. It blows my mind. They have 3 colleges within 20 minutes of each other that are all in the ACC, and they don't talk college football here, Ryan.
What are they talking about?
Pros and free agency for hockey since it's the Carolina Hurricanes down. The other day they were talking about Chick-fil-A is no longer going to be offered in the North Carolina State Stadium anymore.
Well,
people are upset about that.
They possibly know their audience better than I would know their audience, but yeah.
Well, this town is a Raleigh town. Raleigh is a NC State town, just Raleigh. And that's where the show is based out of. They talk NC State football one time a week, and only during college football for a 1-hour show. That's it.
I got you.
So, anyhow, well, I love your show, Ryan.
Thank you, Stephen.
Roll Tide. I look forward to the week.
Yeah, roll Tide, man. Thank you. Let's go 205-342-9904. We got a Tommy in Romulus. Tommy, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hey, Ron. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Can't complain. I'm going to ask you a tough question. Are you ready? Are you ready, Ron Fowler?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm ready. Are you ready?
Sure, I am. I'm going to be tough on you.
Oh, you mean this evening? You think I'm going to be?
No.
Today.
It's game week, Fowler. Get your head in the game.
Well, all I can think about is those folks down in Florida State asking the media to refund their subscriptions. What if Alabama loses to Western Kentucky? What if they lose to South Florida? What if we start out 0-3? That would be Coach Stallings in 1990. And you think about the frustration of that point. But, what if we start out? Are you guys going to ask for a refund?
No, because look what happened 2 years down the road after we went 0-3. we won a national championship. Stay focused. This is game week. We're going to get win number one. We're going to stop this, whining and talking about who cares about Florida State? Who cares about Danny Cannell? He never been right. So what do we care? Put an L on his forehead. Move on. This is Alabama week. We are playing Western Kentucky. There's nobody else in the world that matters but Alabama.
Oh, here comes Tommy and Romulus, his famous talk, right?
That's right. I'm going to give you the other day because I'm going to tell somebody, you're not tough enough yet. You're softy Ron. I'm going to make you tough and mean Fowler from Tulsa, Alabama. You got me?
Okay.
Well, don't tell me okay.
No, I'm okay. I'm ready. I'm just trying to pace myself. I gotta get through this evening. I mean, I got basketball on my mind, Tommy.
I know. Tonight is a big night. It's going to be a great night. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, you are sitting with some of our great listeners.
That's right. I'm going to get to meet a lot of people I haven't met. So yeah,
I'm still trying to give away a pair of tickets, but the only problem is our phone lines are jammed up. So I have a pair of tickets, but now please, I'm asking, if you win these, not you, but whoever wins these tickets, please use them, because if not, in an event like today, we want to put as many people in here as possible. I mean, John Hanna doesn't do a lot of speaking engagements. He would be, he's great at it. I mean, he's one of the best. I mean, he's one of the greatest players to ever wear the crimson jersey.
I know he's a legend, a Hall of Famer in college football,
and then
pro football.
To be able to combine, with, Nate Oates and then Cedric Burns, which I don't. I was talking this morning with my colleague, and I was talking about Cedric Burns. Cedric Burns has probably got more stories than all of us. And now, we're not going to, say things that'll get him in trouble. But
no, but he got 40 years worth of story. He was with Coach Bryant. Was recruited by Coach Bryant, if I remember correctly.
He was, yeah.
And he went with all the coaches. He'd been there. He got great memories to share with us. I'm looking forward to that.
I am too. And Tommy, you answer this question. I may even use this comment on stage. So if you give me something positive, I can use it. But is it fair to say that coming off a Final Four, the only Final Four appearance in Alabama Crimson Tide history, and an Elite Eight, obviously, to get to the Final Four, can you remember a moment that this basketball program was higher than it is currently right now with momentum?
No. We always had high hope. When Dan McKee and them was coming back, we thought we was going to make a run. When Robert Horry, Sprewell there, we thought we had a team to get to the Final Four. Because Arkansas was going, and we split with them, and we were just as good as Arkansas was, but somehow we came up short. We ran into a team that was harder than we was and was on that night. No, this is the highest Alabama basketball ever been. I mean, when you sit there in game week of Alabama football and you're talking about Alabama basketball, you got to know that.
Well, I mean, look at it right now. I mean, we've done it all summer. I mean, I've been doing radio in this town, part-time, full-time since Coach Saban arrived. I've been doing radio in this town for since 2000. I covered Mike DuBose from a part-time journalist role. Not really. I mean, it still kind of just, went behind the ears in 2000. But I've never seen basketball at this level right now. Never. I mean, now I've seen people try to force people to talk basketball. But I mean, when you look at basketball right now, I don't think it's ever been any higher than it is right now.
No. Alabama basketball, football, the whole sports program is on a positive beat. We got a successful coach in soccer, which nobody don't care about. But I mean, gymnastics, softball, got up-and-coming coach in baseball. We got one of the best coaches in basketball. And in a couple more years, we're going to have the very best coach in football. Yes, you ought to be excited. You ought to be talking about Alabama sports. It's something to grab a hold of. This is a positive thing.
And I'm sure that's probably one of the reasons why we talk about a very busy offseason. Part of that was Alabama Crimson Tide basketball. Some of that was, covering a Final Four run. Some of that was the attention that, this program deserved. And then, when you go out and you sign Big Cliff, that's huge.
Well, it's a thing I'm going to say about Nate Oates. He did not stop coaching these players last year because towards the end of the season, the first game of the SEC tournament, we was kind of like, maybe we'll get a win. We lucky we might get two. Everybody kind of was sour mouth. But he did not give up on them, and they didn't give up on their head coach. We got a Final Four. I expect the same attitude this year. It's a coming. I hope I get to see Nate Oates host a national championship trophy for the University of Alabama.
Well, and obviously he believes that he can accomplish those goals. I mean, he believes that he can accomplish. I think you're probably going to hear some of it this evening. You're going to hear him kind of discuss that these are significant options. I mean he chose, because it wasn't just one school. There was multiple schools that came after Nate Oates. He chose to stay here because he believes that he can accomplish what he is, on projection to do.
Well, it's like this. Same thing with, this is going to sound funny, but now people wanting our basketball coach. All the other time, they wanted our football coach.
Well, I mean, that within itself was a conversation.
Yes. I mean, everybody say, well, Kentucky wants him. He won't turn down Kentucky. Arkansas is better than. I'm like, no, they're not. I'm sorry. You people in the Arkansas land, you're living a freaking fantasy. Like I said, it's football season. It's game week. The university started all our athletic team playing, starting soccer, volleyball, and now football. It's time to get me. We take no prisoner. We don't like nobody else in the SEC. Got it?
We got it. Tommy, what do you want to see Saturday?
I want to see. I talked on the other show. I said, well, I watched. This is probably going to be a bad thing, I'm going to say, but I watched a couple of replays of the Washington football season last year. I watched the 2 games against Oregon.
Now, Tommy, whoa. How did you do this? Someone who doesn't have internet, where did you find this at?
They replayed the Washington-Texas game.
Okay.
The past week or two. And they played Alabama-Ohio State late last night. If you flip your TV channel, it's called cable, you get a little satellite. For some reason, the phone people don't want to give me the internet. We had this discussion again Friday night at high school football. My neighbors did. And they are bound and determined now to get me internet. But, no, I watched it at a friend's house. He said, what you want to see? Can you pull? He said, I can get anything. I'm blah, blah, blah. And he only lived 3 miles away from me. That what aggravates the heck out of me. I said, pull up the Washington game. This has been on all summer, off and on all summer. I want to know how Coach DeBoy coach a game. He's like coach. And Washington was a very less penalized team. They didn't make silly jumping offside all the time or having 12 men in the huddle or the 11th man got to run on the field because we only have 10. I mean, I want to see that. I've heard that from the scrimmages, people saying they know their task. And I want to see a clean game. I mean, I want to see, I know there'll be game jittery because it's his first game.
Sure.
And Tulsa and a lot of kids never played in front of 100,000. I expect mistakes. But I really want to see improvement, season long, down the penalties, the stupid penalties. Like hitting the quarterback late. I mean, we've done, the last few years, you got to admit, we have done some boneheaded 15-yarders late in the game. So, no, I just want to see that. I want to see how crisp the offense runs.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to all of it. I'm looking forward to 6 o'clock Saturday night. You don't know how much I'm looking for. And I thank the good Lord I get another opportunity to go watch Alabama football. I know it's 5 days away, but, hey, I hope I'm there. I'm looking forward to it. It's football season. I smelled the little fall in the air down Green County last Friday night watching Zip Valley play. And I met some people who now know who I am. Thanks to you and Don Presley and Lance Cormier, I'm getting.
Yeah, Lance sent me a text and said he met one of our famous callers. Hey, Tommy, no doubt, man, I got to get to this break. I just got the break sign, so yeah.
I'll see you tonight, man. All
Hey,
right.
thank you, man. Tommy and Romulus, Josh and Georgia, get ready. We've got more Kalen DeBoer audio headed your way in a couple of minutes. What are you looking for when you go inside that stadium, Bryant-Denny Stadium, or you flip on the television, you say, hey, what's this Alabama football team made of? What do you want to see? We'll continue. Josh and Georgia, Wayne and Destin, we'll get to you. AC and Bangladesh and many others. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
KICK to 42424. That's KICK to 42424.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
You're listening to the best sports talk show, breaking down the Crimson Tide. The Game with Ryan Fowler on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Crimson Tide football brought to you by Alabama Credit Union, alabamaCreditUnion, checking, savings, mortgage, home equity loan, financing a vehicle. We are 70 days away from Alabama Crimson Tide basketball, and excluding that exhibition game up at Huntsville that I know has been very popular up in the northern part of the state, Memphis and Alabama getting together in Huntsville, but we'll kick off the season officially UNC Asheville, November the 4th on a Monday evening. So that'll be inside Coleman Coliseum. And if you're over on campus, you can see where the practice facility and the growth of that's already started. Man, we're going to have some fun. Let's continue with more conversation right here. Let's go to Josh in Georgia. Josh, good afternoon, sir. You're in the game.
Good afternoon, Ryan. Somebody throw me a helmet and let me go in. I am ready.
Do you need a mouthpiece?
It is 5 days away. I need a mouthpiece. I got the shoulder pads, and I am ready.
Josh, I'm a little bit concerned. I mean, are you going to be able to pace yourself for this?
I don't know. I don't think there is a pace button.
Okay.
At least I don't have one. I mean, I know Steven said we couldn't go full off the top rope, but I'm ready to go full off the top rope here and drop an elbow on somebody. So.
Okay. Well,
I mean, it is here.
So let's pretend that Saturday evening is here. Okay.
Okay.
You got tickets? You coming?
Oh, yeah. I will be one of the thousands in attendance.
Yeah, you'll be able to say that you helped get the Kalen DeBoer era started. Okay.
I was at the spring game for Kalen DeBoer, so I'm helping kick this thing off, dude.
That's official, but this one's a little bigger, right? It counts.
No, this one's season opener, yeah.
Josh, when we walk you into Bryant-Denny Stadium and we set you wherever your seats are going to be, what do you want to see? What do you want to walk out of that stadium going, I just witnessed?
Well, I think we definitely want to see the explosiveness of the offense. And me personally, behind Jeremy Bernard, I want to see who the other next couple of receivers are going to be. I don't know how many he plans to play because we don't know how many points we're going to throw up on these guys. I don't know how much, he plans to rotate different guys. I've heard some different things that the ones have been Jeremy Bernard, Kendrick Law. I've heard Ryan Williams has been taking some snaps, but then I've also heard Ryan Williams with Emmanuel Henderson and Cole Adams was like the second group. So I want to see that. I look forward to seeing our boys on the ground, Justice and Jam. I think they'll really do a good job. And we'll see if he decides to split the carries between the two for the first game, or if he decides to use one rather than the other. If one's you always ride the hot hand. So you just give it to the guy unless, you want to give that guy a break. But if he's doing good and letting him run, you want to let him run and just let the big man eat. And but then I'm really interested in this defense. I really am really interested in this defense because, like we said, this TJ Finley, he's seen us. This is his third time seeing us, but this is not the same team that he has seen in close to those back-to-back years with LSU and the Bugs. This is a new coach team. This is a new style of defense. and I look for Malachi Moore and the boys in the backfield and on that defensive side of the football to be flying around, not only to the football, but hopefully being ball hawks and get some takeaways. Because I know Coach Womack and Coach DeBoer, they've influenced and emphasized takeaways. So I look forward to seeing that actually work. I want to see quarterback pressure. I want to see him get after TJ because he's a bit of a mobile quarterback, if I remember. So I want to see him get after him. I want to see him, close in on this guy. I want to see who gets around that offensive line and gets to that quarterback.
So here we are. I think those are probably a lot of things that we want to see. I want to see the offensive line. I mean, I know this sounds so simple.
Oh, for sure. No. You're right.
I want to see Parker Brailsford. I want to see the snaps be consistent. And I know they have been throughout camp, but I want to see that.
Sure.
I want to see it from my own eyes.
You want to see it. You're right. It's after what we had to endure last year with somebody I will remain unnamed. We all know. And the snaps, the issues that we had where he had to catch him at his knees, he had to catch him at his ankles, he had to catch him from going over his head, except for the 4th and 31 one that went over his head or went right by him. And so, but getting it consistently right there about chest high, right at the numbers, right where he's got his hands set when he collapsed and calls for the ball, hey, that's going to be big. I'm not going to lie. That is going to be big. And I think we still got a right tackle battle going on between Formby and Pritchard. So he'll probably play both of those for the first couple of games.
If I'm predicting, okay, I think it's Wilkin Formby.
I've heard Formby to start.
Yeah, I would say Wilkin Formby, and I think to say that those guys may rotate, it could be
right. I'm just saying for the first couple of games, maybe we see both of them.
Yeah,
but I say Formby starts. So that's what I've heard and what I suspect. So, and I end it with this. You mentioned the WWE a while ago, and I do like wrestling. And I leave you with this, what the old DX used to do. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I said, are you ready? Roll Tide.
Thank you, Josh. Jackson, I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned at our good friend right there, Josh. I don't think Josh is ever going to make it to Friday. I mean, if this is his attitude on a Monday, he's going to be very unproductive at work. If I was his supervisor, I would just tell him, listen, call off the next 3 or 4 days. Maybe work is a distraction, and maybe that's where he's able to focus. But I don't know if Josh is going to be able to make it. I mean, Josh was WWE style back in June, July. We're 5 days away, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union. I don't think you'll ever make it.
I think he's taken every day this week, just like how Bama Nick takes every day.
Yeah, Josh doesn't drink, though, so it might be a little bit different. So
maybe he's got some 0% beer then.
Yeah, maybe. I doubt it, though. I doubt it. Josh is a, for those who may or may not know, he's talked about this before, Josh is a pastor. I'm not saying that pastors don't drink, but I don't think Josh would be in the Bama Nick category. I don't think. Now, listen, I mean, he may be one of these no, I'm not going to accuse him of that. I was going to say one of these woke pastors that, little sip will do you. No, I don't think he's one of those guys. But, hotty toddy before he goes to bed. Alabama Kennedy, what is this? What is this, Jackson? What is this? I don't have my glasses.
He came to speak in March here on campus. I went to go see him speak. And
you went to RFK speak? Yeah. Did you really?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was very interesting. It was very good.
What's wrong? I mean, I'm going to ask a dumb question. I'm going to put my foot in my mouth and just
go for it.
Literally, what's wrong with his voice?
I believe.
Did he have a stroke or something?
I don't think it was a stroke.
Okay.
As far as I know from what he's talked about and what I've heard and read, it's due, and I may be wrong on this, so you guys can.
Because I saw crazy people going out there left and right.
Right. I think it's due to actually a vaccine injury.
Is it really? That's why he's so outspoken.
Ago, yeah.
Wow. Okay. I did not, but I did go back and watch his 48-minute speech. Wow, it's grabbing. Let's break here. We're going to come back. We'll get Wayne and Destin coming up here in just a couple of minutes. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
DEAL or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511 today. All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
The best place for your high school football coverage is right here on Tide 100.9 and online on Tide100.9.com.
The 20-inch pizza pie, pepperoni meat lovers, cheese. Design your own. TheStandardBama.com. University Boulevard. You'll find them down on the Strip. You'll find them available by DoorDash. Full service restaurant. TheStandardBama.com. Go see those guys. Tell them the game sent you. You can find the 20-inch pizza pie, pepperoni meat lovers, cheese. Design your own. You've got wings, boneless wings, cheese sticks, mac and cheese bites. Full service restaurant, The Standard, there on University Boulevard. Wayne and Destin, hold on. We're going to get to you coming up in a couple of minutes, man. We got a lot of things to get to. I've got to get out of here around 4:30, 4:35. I've got to head over to the University Church of Christ. Got a big speaking engagement here. I'm not going to be speaking, but I will be doing about an hour interview. We're going to be having Nate Oates up there for about 30 minutes, and we'll have Cedric Burns. And then we're going to hand the microphone to College Football Hall of Fame and a guy that is a Pro Football Hall of Fame. John Hanna is going to be speaking with us here in Tuscaloosa. Going to be an encouraging group as we did last year, and we're going to be raising money for the Tuscaloosa Angels, which helps foster families here in our community. We greatly appreciate David Harden and the University of Church of Christ for allowing us to be a part of that. We appreciate you guys. We'll continue with more of the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama.
And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at VaxAssist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Nick Cope.
Cowboys receiver CeeDee Lamb's holdout is over. Reports say Dallas and Lamb have agreed on a 4-year extension worth up to $136 million with $100 million in guaranteed money. It's a $34 million average annual value, placing Lamb as the second highest paid receiver in the league, just behind Justin Jefferson and his $35 million per year. Rams receiver Puka Nacua returned to practice today. He had been out since earlier this month with a knee injury, now on track to be ready for Week 1. Chiefs have brought back receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, who was cut by the Patriots earlier this month. In college sports, reports say Big 12 presidents and athletic directors met today about potentially adding UConn. No vote was taken, and discussions are expected to continue. At the U.S. Open, defending women's champ Coco Gauff cruised in straight sets to begin the tournament.
I got spirit, I got faith. I might bend, but I won't break. I'll fight the elements. And I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging. If I go down. This ain't our home, nah, not even close. They camouflage like we fighting some ghosts. You start to doubt everything that you know. I feel the heat and it's starting to show. They try to break us, make us wanna give in. Lay down our arms, provocate us again. Lay down a fight, I can never relent. And I'ma take it all the way to the end. Fight the elements. I'll fight the elements. I got spirit, I got faith. I might bend, but I won't break. I'll fight the elements. And I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging.
Toby Mack, as we get ready for Alabama Crimson Tide basketball, the topic of conversation, Nate Oates front and center, coming up later this evening. That is going to be a big event. We've given away several pairs of tickets. I might be able, I don't know. I mean, I'm just feeling kind of nice today. I'm feeling kind of generous. I might have an extra pair of tickets. I don't know. I happened to find these. I went to the restroom a couple of minutes ago, and someone left them. No, I mean, I know people don't want them in the restroom, but I might be able, if you twist my arm a little bit, I might be able to come up with another pair of tickets. And nice little value to hear John Hannah. John's going to share his testimony coming up following myself and Nate Oates for about 30 minutes, and then Cedric Burns for about 30 minutes. And then we're going to hand off to the College Football Hall of Fame member, John Hannah, going to be coming back to Tuscaloosa. So we take just a minute to welcome him in. We're always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyline Boulevard, and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. The national sales event, some interest specials, including the Tundra and the Camry. The Camry 3.99 APR for 36. If you're looking for the RAV4, 3.99 APR for 36. You say, hold on a minute, I need to go up a little bit. Well, it kind of, as you elevate with months, it slightly goes up on the interest specials. The 1.99 Tundra is something that will set to expire here in the next few days. It is Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. Let's go to Martin Houston, 1992 national champion winning fullback at the University of Alabama, who hosts the Martin Houston Show here on Tide 100.9 every morning beginning at 6 a.m. Martin Houston, how are you, my friend? Welcome into the game in T-Town.
I'm doing well. I guess I'm going to go down swinging, right?
Yes, you are. I'm going to have to move you to like 4:15 or 3:45. I mean, if you're going to get your own song, then 4:15 is our new time spot.
I was just honoring the song, man. I'm going to go down swinging.
Yes.
I didn't say anything.
I know what you meant, though. I know.
Oh, okay.
I know deep down inside. That's a Jackson, can you play We're the Man, He's the Man, He's the Man, He's the Man? I mean, this might be the... now we have a couple of callers, Martin, that love their own song. And we had one guy last week that recommended, he said, I think you should do it for all the callers. I said, I think you're crazy, okay? If you think I'm going to put that on my producer, you are absolutely crazy. But Martin, Jackson, if you've got it, play it, and we'll give a formal introduction to Martin Houston. So Martin does not have an ego, but he sounds like he's got a big one. Here we go. You sing along, though, Martin. Make a joyful noise. You sing along, though.
That's what it would be to be a joyful noise.
Well, you can tell everybody. Yeah, you can tell everybody. Go ahead and tell everybody. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I am. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. I believe every lie that
There we go. Martin Houston, 1992 national champion winning fullback at the University of Alabama. Martin Houston, I hope all is well, my friend.
All is well, Ryan. And, it's funny. That song sounds really arrogant. But if you go back and look at it, man, It's a really, really strong song about dealing with yourself. Like, I believe every lie that I've ever told, paid for every heart that, ever stole, played my cards, and did. I mean, it's a really, really good song. It comes across as arrogant when you first hear that part, but one part of it that our nation could use, it says, "Stand up now and face the sun. Won't hide my tail or turn and run. It's time to do what must be done. Be a king when the kingdom comes." So it's actually a really, really good song.
Well, I need to go back and focus a little bit more on the lyrics here.
A lot of people don't. It says that, one part of it says, been through the worst, but I still give my best. God made my mold different from the rest. Then he broke that mold, so I know I'm blessed. This is my world. So I'm going to stand up and face the sun. Won't tuck tail and run. So,
Martin, I want to dive into a lot of different things, okay? A lot of different things. But let me ask you from a media perspective first, because I said this earlier to the audience, and I said, I got to be honest with you. I'm out of questions. I know that's not what you want to hear. I said, but if I was forced to do an interview with Kalen DeBoer, I could do repeat questions. I don't have anything else new that I need to know about this football team right now. Is there something that you are going into this week here wanting to know? I mean, it's the media availability. We have players tomorrow. We have more assistant coaches on Wednesday. But I feel like we've got to know this fall camp really, really well. Probably, in other years, I'd be guessing what I think is going to happen. We know more about the Alabama program because of because of Kalen DeBoer's access that he's given us.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I still have the question about what's going to be the true identity, right?
Sure.
Of this team. I mean, we were talking on my show this morning, and we were talking about strength. We did SWOT analysis. We're going to do that all week with the different guests and stuff. And the irony of it is we did all of the talking. We named all the strengths, weakness, opportunity, strength, etc. Never mentioned the quarterback position, right? Then we did an overtime segment. And in that overtime segment, I asked him, I said, now, we didn't mention this one guy. And the reality of it is you could talk about him as a strength. You could talk about him as a potential weakness. You could talk about him as a potential opportunity that if Jalen Milroe has an unbelievable Heisman-type season, what it means for Alabama, or if he gets hurt, what it means for Alabama. So literally, and so with that said, it makes you go, with that much riding on him potentially, what's going to be the balance? What's going to be the identity of this team? Will it be what Washington was, where we're looking at a quarterback that's going to have 4,000 passing yards? Or will it be he's going to have 4,500 total yards with, 1,000 rushing yards like Jayden Daniels? What is the identity? I mean, I don't know the answer to that, truthfully. So that would be one of the questions. If he would answer it, I would ask him.
At what point in camp, because you're 24 practices in, I think, because this started, you got to remember they did take a couple of days off, but this started back in late July, okay? At what point in camp do you just get tired of hitting the same guy over and over and over?
Once you get past, it's not a set practice run as much as it is a set event. Once you get past, when we were playing, it would have been that second or third scrimmage, based on when the coach was going to set the depth chart, right? Whatever that practice was after the depth chart was set, you'd be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
You're fighting for a position up until that time, and then after that, you're getting ready for the first game. And that literally, we look at it as spring and camp and summer, but the reality of it is it really goes from January, that first weight, lifting a weight, all the way till that scrimmage and that depth chart. That's how long you are in that mental grind or focus. And you don't think about it that way as a fan or as a media. You think, oh, hey, they had spring practice. I mean, they had the off season. Oh, they had spring practice. Oh, they had summer. Oh, they have fall camp. No, it's just one long fight from the time the season ends till you get on that depth chart that you're driving towards. So that's what it was for me. It'd be interesting to see what other guys will say, but that's kind of where I was. That makes sense?
Yeah, no, it does. It does. I want to ask you, you never played the center, but you also understand what it's like to take on big-time guys in the middle. So I want to ask you, I saw a video. Oh, Lord, this is probably going to get me in trouble, but that's okay. I saw a video of Parker Brailsford snapping the football, okay? Snapping the football. The ball is still in the air. So this is a still photo of Parker Brailsford snapping the football. The ball's still in the air. As the ball is in the air, Parker Brailsford has already got in a position to get his hands on the defender, the defensive lineman. So the ball is literally coming out. The ball's in the air, perfect position, right where the quarterback wants it. He's already got his hands on the defensive lineman. I saw the video and I went, he's an All-American. He's an All-American. Yeah. I mean, the ball is literally, and this even, I'll show you the video. I'll show you the photo that I'm talking about. So because I know you're going to be at the event tonight. The ball is literally in the air flying, and Parker Brailsford has already got his hands on the defensive lineman.
And Ryan, and that's why, so many people are like, he's not
That's
big
what he's
enough.
supposed to do. That's what he's supposed to do. And I'm like,
yes, I don't know how many people when he came here and everybody was talking about he's only 275, he's only 280, whatever. Well, two things. One, first of all, defensive linemen aren't as big as they used to be. That's number one. But number two, Ryan, not all blocking is driving the guy off the ball. Okay? The only time the center really needs to drive a guy off the ball is if you run a quarterback sneak right behind him. All other times, the center needs to be mentally sharp. He needs to have really, really good feet and really, really quick hands. And what that does is it gives him the ability to position himself or because if they're double teaming on the nose, he has to be able to position his hands. And then if he's the guy that's coming off, he has to be able to release and go up to the next level. Or if he's blocking, say he's blocking to the right, and Jaden Roberts is the one that's going to go up to the linebacker. When Jaden Roberts disengages, he has to be able to quickly be able to shuffle his feet and then get back in front of that guy because he loses half of his body, right, in that moment. Or in the case that you saw, what could that defensive guy do? He snapped and was that quick. He was between the defender and where the ball was going. Because if it was run, was he head on or was he straight? Was it to the side or left or right in the picture?
To the left. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. To his right. To his right. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the photo.
Parker went to his right.
He did.
Now you said it was a video.
That was a still photo. I'm sorry.
Still photo. Okay, yeah. That's fine. But my point behind that, Ryan, is most likely that means it's either the quarterback's going to roll to the right or the running play is going to the right. Now, what does that defender have to do to make the tackle based on what you saw if the ball's going to the right? He has to go through him around him.
Right.
He has to either run up the field around him or he has to go down the field around him or he has to run straight through him. He can't do that unless that play doesn't work unless he just.
I just sent you the photo. You can look at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But I just saw it and I went, he's an All-American. I mean, he literally is an All-American. I mean, you can look at the photo and I'm going, and my understanding of the ball is so consistent. The ball, as far as the quarterback where he's getting the ball. Now, watch me. I'll have 9 missed snaps on Saturday because I'm already out here predicting. But the things that I've heard is just consistent. But look at that photo right there and tell me. Because there is still a lot of people like, okay, what do you get from Parker Brailsford? I think he has a chance to be. I mean, he was on the Outland watch list. I mean, when's the last time we had a center around here that was on the Outland watch list?
Watch this, Ryan. Look at everybody else. And look at how much he would have moved. Okay? Caden Proctor is just now getting his foot up. Booker and all the other guys are pretty much in almost in the same position they were already in. Parker has snapped the ball, popped his head up, raised up, and extended his arm. It's not just that that's a lot that happened in that amount of time.
And Martin and I are the only ones seeing the photo because if I let this out, DeBoer, I'd be doing push-ups or something. But I mean, look, so protect the privacy on that. But I mean, look but look at that. I mean, the ball is in the air and he's already engaged with the defensive line. That is just, man.
Yeah, it's impressive. I always, anytime people talk about the center position, I always tell them about Toby Shields. You couldn't beat him because the only way you were going to beat him was you had to run through him.
Yeah.
He was going to be in a better position than you, and he was going to have better hands and quicker feet than you. and he was a 240-pound center. So,
Martin, what do you take from Florida State, Georgia Tech? Anything?
Yeah, I take a lot from it, Ryan. I talked a little bit this morning. I think that it set an argument that I am so ready to have, a discussion, I should say. Everybody has dogged Dabo Swinney because they said he's refused to embrace the portal. Okay? Well, first of all, if you only have 7 guys leave, you can only bring 7 guys in. Dabo didn't have but a handful of guys leave his team. He didn't have a bunch of people go to the portal. So that's number one. But the reason I bring that up is Dabo says, I would rather build my team with guys who are committed to my program and want to be here than to continue to try to bring in a bunch of guys. And he just filled a couple spots. Well, we saw 2 teams Saturday. Which team was clearly more talented?
I thought it was Florida State was probably more talented.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how many of those guys are in that system and in that program for the first time, Ryan?
A bunch.
How many of those guys are there because they want to play football or they want to get paid?
I know where you're going.
Okay. So Georgia Tech has a bunch of guys. Now Brent Key, his guys have heard his philosophy for 2.5 years, right? They play like their coach because it's now part of their culture, and they understand that culture. He did bring in a couple of guys. He had a couple key guys that made big plays in that game. But overall, he didn't have a whole bunch of new guys. But he had a bunch of guys who were really committed to his way of doing things, and they were a team that is trying to execute into a program. And I saw that. I mean, I watched it, and it'll be interesting to see how this argument plays out all year. If Dabo were to somehow pull an upset on Saturday, I may just jump completely on the bandwagon that you don't have to go to the portal. But everybody talks about you have to do it the portal way. I don't agree with that. I don't think that Kalen DeBoer would have necessarily went to the portal just, crazy. He went to the portal for need. Ron, what happens? I think about me. I think about my career at Alabama. If I had been there waiting for 2 or 3 years, and then a 5th-year guy like a Roydell Williams comes down and starts in front of me, and that's happened 2 or 3 years in a row, all the young guys, they're out. They're not. I mean, they're like, well, why bother? And that's where these programs, like the Ole Misses and all that, they're going to sporadically have good teams, but they won't have great programs. That's just Martin's opinion. Only those talent hogs like Georgia will be able to do that if they want to. But I don't think Georgia plays in the portal either the way the other schools do. Kirby just hasn't come out and said it the way Dabo does. Dabo said it. He feels the same way as Dabo.
Yeah, he's not willing to say it.
Right.
So in one way, you got to respect Dabo for actually say it the way that he means. But is there anything that you can take from that Florida State game and apply to the rest of college football? I mean, I made a crazy statement earlier, and I know this sounds kind of foolish. I said, but here's the 12-team playoff. If Florida State wins out, they're in the playoffs. I mean, so that's the new college football where you've got a little bit of wiggle room. I know as bad as they look, but if they win out, Martin, they're in.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Florida State being in it if they win out. I've always hated you have to be perfect to be the best team. The 1991 Alabama team was the best team in the country. We just lost to Florida in game 2. Everybody forgets that was a 23-game win streak when we beat Miami.
Good point.
I mean, we ended the season on a 10-game win streak. but we lost to Florida in the second game of the season. You know, so we couldn't get back there. How many times? Well, think about this: how many perfect seasons did Nick Saban have?
Only one. Well, the 2020, but yeah.
He had two. His first and last national title were perfect seasons. All the rest, he lost games. And which seasons would you say generated the best teams? Those teams. I mean, look how they would play after they lost the game. Yeah. Do you think the 10-2 Alabama team would have ran through the playoffs and won a national title in 2010?
The 2020?
2010.
2010. Oh yeah, I have no doubt. It was almost like when they lost and they got beat. It was just like, well, okay, I'm not saying they mailed it in. I'm not accusing that, but I'm just saying, coming off that national title, that complacency set in. The focus lost it, and I still say that was one of Nick Saban's most talented teams in 2010.
I agree, and if that team makes it into a playoff scenario,
they may have won it all.
They may have won it all. So I'm excited about that piece of it. But I will say this, Ryan. One of the good things coming out of that Florida State game is we don't have to listen to them all year talk about what if they were undefeated.
And don't you think we're done with undefeated seasons, though?
Mm-mm.
You think we're actually going to have undefeated season?
Yeah, I got a bold prediction.
What are you saying? Alabama undefeated? Is this you going out on a limb? Alabama undefeated?
Not quite undefeated, but there will be a record set in the number of wins in the season this year
in Tuscaloosa.
Maybe.
Okay. Martin Houston, I got to get you. Go ahead.
No.
I mean, what a tease. I mean, this show, you know what happened down in Florida State, right? Those fans were asking the message boards and different subscription websites to refund their money because they led them the wrong way. I don't know if you saw that over the weekend. Yeah, so, Martin, they may be asking for our money back on Tide 100.9, so we may have to be refunding if Alabama stumbles out of the gate. So we could...
Yeah, hey, listen, Ryan, the safe thing would be to wait till after the Georgia game, but then that's the coward's way out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've already went out on a limb. I said, listen, injury-wise, if they have – that's the only thing that prevent this team from being one of the best teams in college football. I think they're no doubt a playoff team, but
this team will win more games than any team in Alabama history.
Yeah. Well, listen, Brett Garner just sent me a photo. Coconut pecan bread pudding. Glory.
One more time.
Coconut pecan bread pudding.
What is he trying to do to
us? Make us obese.
Well, I will say at least this, Ryan.
It's working.
Well, I've learned that if I'm going to do the bread pudding, I just give up something else. So who you got Saturday, man? No, I'm just kidding. Hey, who you got the Clemson Georgia game?
You know, there's just part of me that likes Clemson. I don't know why. I mean, I think Georgia's going to win. Obviously, they're double-digit favor, right? But there's also some of me that thinks that, you know, they could catch each other.
Georgia had the same issue we got.
Well,
they got a lot of talent.
And, you know, here's the thing that I'm going to use, and I got to get out of here too, but Dabo's got something to prove. Because everybody's kind of casting these stones. For 10 years, we talked about Dabo accepting the Alabama job. Martin, he didn't get the phone call.
Right.
Don't you think he's got a little something? He's got a little chip on his shoulder going, man, I got to, you know, I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm not saying, never mind, I'm not going to say it because people
they got I think they're going to have a great defense.
I do.
They can score some points. It could be interesting.
I think the Clemson Tigers could be a little undervalued. So Martin Houston, 1992 national champion winning fullback at the University of Alabama. Martin, I appreciate you, man. I'll invite people to connect with you on the Facebook side of things, connect with him on the Twitter side of things, and also listen to him right here on Tide 100.9. Martin, I'll see you in a couple of hours, man. Thanks.
See you.
Thank
Roll
you.
Tide.
Roll Tide. Martin Houston right there. Wayne and Destin, I promise you, I'm getting to you next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Well, it ain't that hard when you got soul. This is my world. Somewhere I heard that life is a test. I've been through the worst, but I still give my best. God made
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very wonderful Monday afternoon to you. Not so wonderful if you're traveling in Cottondale on University Boulevard on the southbound lane to 2059. Overturned vehicle has traffic very heavy, and that's, of course, blocking out a lane. And then there is the construction work on 2059 eastbound between Western Bypass Joe Malachem.
There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
Nuke's Eatery, they're on the fringe of the campus of the University of Alabama, close enough that you can smell the championships. The Nuke's Goose sandwich, still the number one sandwich across the franchise. The French dip sandwich, I think, is going to challenge for that number one spot. The double club, the single club, you can pair those up with a great sandwich, salad, California-style pizzas, all available for catering from a group of 5 to 500, a small office party to a large corporate event. Joel Bromfield, they've done a great job for my family.
It's the year-end clearance sale at Townsend Nissan going on now. You can save thousands. See BJ or Kylan today at Townsend Nissan, your savings place.
Don Wallace CPA, 527 Main Avenue in downtown Northport. Small business and personal income taxes, payroll, sales tax needs. They can also help you with nonprofit or church accounting or auditing. In business since 1999, they work for you, not the IRS. When you take on taxes, you got to have someone on your side. It's Don Wallace.
Or text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. As you know, it's one of my favorite places. Eat Southern, be Southern, the daily lunch and dinner specials, the great menu that features that Southern cuisine, like the bacon wrap meatloaf, the fish and taters, the biscuit sandwiches, the great steaks, the great chicken entrees, great sandwiches, including the pickle burger, the Ale House burger, the yard bird, great desserts, and always that featured bread pudding that Brett Garner's cooking up. Let Southern Ale House cater your special.
Our coverage begins at 3 on your home for Alabama football. Presented in part by BMW of Tuscaloosa and by Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi. The best breakdown of Alabama football in the state. The Game with Ryan Fowler on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
So we welcome you right back into the game. I'm going to do one more segment. I'm going to take Wayne and Destin, Mike and Opelika in this next segment. We've also got Kalen aboard audio AC. Be nice to Jackson and Wyatt. They're going to get you away from 4:45 all the way until 6 o'clock. We're going to take your phone calls. McBama and Atlanta, I see you up there. We're going to try to work you in as well. We're asking today, what do you want to see from this Alabama football team? What will give you that confirmation that Alabama is going to be a team that can play with the best teams in the country? We just talked about it. We'll take your phone calls coming up in just a couple of minutes. I do remind you, we are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. But Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. It is our good friends going to be opening up a new restaurant. The old location, and I say old, it's not old, but the original location, it's not going anywhere. I mean, Southern Ale House right there. We are expanding, and we're going to Southern Ale House, Dockside. I had a chance just a couple of days ago to be invited up there for a soft opening. One of the best views that you will find in Tuscaloosa, the restaurant right there on Lake Tuscaloosa. Simply amazing. Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. Also, I want to remind you about the BMW Summers event. It is here. No better place to find your perfect ride than BMW of Tuscaloosa. BMW Tuscaloosa, redefining the car buying experience with a customer-first philosophy. We're driving satisfaction to new heights with an improved inventory that you can't miss. Now through August the 31st, enjoy unbeatable offers like interest rates as low as 2.99 and lease credits up to $9,900. BMW Tuscaloosa is your destination for quality and value. Visit us 3537 Skyline Boulevard East or check us out online, bmwoftuscaloosa.com. BMW of Tuscaloosa, your last new dealership. We roll on. We'll continue with more of the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Something so good, it'll leave her speechless.
I'm Tom Osmond, your jeweler at Fincher and Osmond Jewelers. Not so easy to find on McFarland, between Edgar's and local routes.
With only 43 seconds remaining, facing a 4th and goal from the 31-yard line at Jordan-Hare Stadium, quarterback Jalen Milroe finds himself under immense pressure, scrambling to connect with Isaiah Bond in the corner of the end zone for a miraculous come-from-behind victory over Auburn. The jaw-dropping 27-24 result came on the 10th anniversary of the Kick Six. Daniel Moore is proud to announce 4th and 31, his upcoming oil painting featuring the now famous Gravedigger play. New Life Art is now accepting pre-orders for limited edition fine art prints and canvases of 4th and 31. See the preliminary pencil sketch for the artist's full color painting at danielmooreart.com. Pre-order.
Conduct virtual interviews, all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Pat's Florist and Gourmet Baskets in downtown Tuscaloosa, 1010 Queen City Avenue. For over 60 years, they've been serving our community. They specialize in a large inventory of fresh flowers, weddings, gourmet fruit baskets. If you're trying to lift someone's spirits, it is Pat's Florist Gourmet Baskets by calling 205-345-5093. Delivery options are available, but it's more than just flowers at Pat's Florist and Gourmet Baskets, 1010 Queen City Avenue.
Double whammy. Basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
You're listening to the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Tide 100.9.
Let's take some phone calls right here. Let's go to Wayne and Destin. Wayne, good afternoon, sir. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
All is well. How are you today?
Man, I'm great. A little nervous, but as Coach DeBoer said, he was asked about butterflies. He said, if you got butterflies, it means it's important to you. So, I got to get up on that stage later this evening and interview the basketball coach at the University of Alabama. And I do interviews every day, so it's not like I'm, a complete rookie here. But, looking at, 600 people out in a room, you never know. I might get a little jittery. Maybe they have to coach me up a little bit,
You've got the gift of gab. A little Bob Metchie and stuff. I think you're sharp as a tack. You'll do fine.
Oh, no. But Joe, you were asking me. I looking at 5:15 when the doors open. I'm going, am I ready? Because I've only got let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 questions for Nate Oates. I think I'll be okay.
You are. All right.
We call that being over prepared.
Yeah, that's right. Rather be over than under, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I've heard everybody giving their what they feel like. I feel like, you remember how excited you were the week before Christmas and the days before Christmas?
Sure. Yeah.
Us Alabama football fans, this week is Christmas is Saturday, not sacrilegiously, just the excitement of waiting for something that you've been waiting for months to happen.
Yeah. I mean, we started at 240 something days and we're down to 5 days, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union. Yeah. We kind of got this thing whipped.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting. I wanted to ask you. I know you've heard Kalen's his talk today, and then you heard Nick talk on. I'm sure this weekend you heard him talk on College Game Day. You know, some of the things that I'm hearing, and I just wonder if you are. You know, today Kalen said that everybody is focused. He said this team did really good Saturday at practice, and today they came back in. He said they're very focused. Nick said the attention to detail when he was at that second scrimmage, he feels way better. Well, you can't, if you read between the lines, sounds like this team they're very focused. So I don't see us not laying an egg. I really don't. I think we're going to come out there and take care of business quick.
I do as well, and I tweeted this out in kind of a funny way because it was like after the game, and I said, this time next week, what will we be talking about? Like as far as the game, and so I put up it wasn't really sarcasm, but it was kind of like a prediction, right? I mean, just something that. Okay, and I said this time next Saturday we'll be recapping Alabama's 49-7 victory over Western Kentucky. Kalen DeBoer can flat out coach. The rest of the SEC has officially hit the anxiety button. This offense under DeBoer and Milroe as the quarterback is going to create some insomnia for opposing defensive coordinators. I also think the Tide defense is going to be better than we expect. What else will we be discussing? And people kind of chimed in a little bit and kind of reacted and kind of had fun with it because Ryan Williams. I saw Marquise Mays earlier today. Say, guys, there's a new deuce in Tuscaloosa, and his name is Ryan Williams. And that's no offense to anybody else that's ever won that number, because there's been some great ones that have done that. But it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And, you were talking, I personally have been hearing people talk before, listening to conversations, and I feel like we are going to run more than one. I think we're going to run a couple of units. He's already said he had to have depth for, the whole season. And these are the games that you get depth. That's one thing Nick was sort of slow at. Now, I know that,
it was the NFL system. NFL system.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Tyler's going to play. I would be shocked if the second string offensive line and Tyler don't play, and the second string whole defense doesn't play for the next two games for sure. They've got to build depth. We'll see if he, we'll see. He sort of mentioned that in roundabout ways throughout the, the conversations he's had on the radio and TV multiple times. He hadn't come out and said it right out, but he did say we got to build depth, and that's the only way you can build it.
It's true, and I think the way that you handle it now is much different than where it is in the past. This is going to sound really, really weird because I every time I ever watch Coach Saban adjust, whether it was the up tempo or the no huddle, that was countering to his defense because he was really calling every play on the sidelines. When you look at Kalen DeBoer, this is going to hurt me to say this. In some ways, I feel that he's better suited for the current college football than Coach Saban.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to. Like I said, it's going to get me in so much trouble.
No, I mean, there's a lot of us that feel that way.
In a lot of ways, did Coach Saban not tell us that indirectly? Wayne?
Yep.
Because he said, when I no longer can do it at the standard that I've created, that's when I'm going to tap out.
Right. Well, I think, and you hear between the lines again about the money situation. You saw Mike Gundy come out and say, told his players, stop asking for money. There's not going to be any more money till after January. He came out and said that last week. So there's a lot of that going on.
Sure.
Not the player, but the player's rep calling and saying, give me the money, give me the money. Well, I think that's what's going on with Florida State. Of course, I live down here in Florida State land. I was over there scalloping, and everybody over there is right below Tallahassee. They were all Florida State fans. And, they've been talking about this is redemption tour, wearing T-shirts like that. That's egg on your face when you wearing a T-shirt that said this is redemption here.
Yeah, don't know where the redemption is, but it's not here. But, hey, Wayne, I appreciate you, man, as always.
All right, Brian, you have a good day.
Thank you. Wayne and Destin. Mike and Opelika. Mike, good afternoon. You're in the game. Hey, Mike. No Mike. How about MacBama? MacBama, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hey, Ryan, roll tide, buddy.
Yeah, roll tide to you. How's Atlanta treating you?
Same old, man. Sorry I hadn't called in a while, but I've been listening. Been checking you guys out.
What's good? I called you out a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you heard it.
I did not, but I usually get in the car. It's probably going to be around 4 o'clock your time.
Okay.
And then I'm sorry, about 4:30 your time. Then I get to listen to pretty much the rest of your show. So, but I've been checking you guys out. Just hadn't had a lot to talk about, but I like to listen.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you either way. We appreciate you, but we also appreciate you because you're always a very productive caller, man. You always bring a lot to the table.
Well, I got a thought today.
Okay, talk to me.
And week 0 kind of spawned this thought, Ryan. And let me make sure I understand what week 0 really means. Does it open up another break in the season? Like instead of having 2 byes, you really would have 3?
Okay, I guess that's the way to look at it. I have not looked enough at Florida State's schedule to go, what are they? Because I don't know. Do they get another bye week? Or they get because we get 2 bye weeks, right? Already.
Yeah, right.
Does Florida State get 3? I don't know their schedule. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of the bye of week 0 as far as Bama playing it. Because,
I agree.
It's just,
it's kind of like a Thursday. It's a Thursday game. We're not a Thursday type team. You know what I mean? I mean, it's that's for people that need attention. When Alabama plays, we get the attention. We don't need to, go out here and starve for it.
That's right. But with this new playoff system, and I guess up to 17 games. If there is in fact 3 breaks, that 0 strategy might not be a bad one to just break the season up a little bit more. And I'll just tell you what my thought is on Bama and week 0. Let's make it big. Let's go to London every year and play at Wembley Stadium. Week 0, and then get the next week off.
Okay. Does Florida State play this weekend? No.
I'm not sure.
Okay, neither am I. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll double check that, but there's going to be a void somewhere unless they're playing 13 games, right? If they get 2 byes and if they play Florida, the last week of the season. So there's got to be something in there.
They actually – okay, so here's the crazy part. So they play Georgia Tech. They play Boston College next Monday evening. Then they get a bye week, and they get 2 weeks to prepare for Memphis. So there's 1 bye week. Then they play California, SMU, and then Clemson. That's not a bye week. They get another bye week between Clemson and Duke. Let me see. I'm looking for 3 bye weeks, just looking. I don't think they do. No, they do. They do. Oh. They do. They actually do get 3 bye weeks. They do. Notre Dame and Charleston Southern, they play between there. That's a bye week, and then the others, yep. So they do. They get 3. So I guess you earned that for playing week 0. I did not know.
Right. And with a potential 17-game season, that could be valuable,
Yeah. Well, okay.
So back to my London theory, wouldn't it, do you think that would carry any weight with recruits? Hey, man, you're going to be playing in London, England every year, and you'll be international.
I guess in some ways, but in the other ways, I got to take up for the local fans. The local fans have got to be able to be rewarded, and they're rewarded by having home games. Alabama fans have spent a fortune in the last 17 years traveling all over across the country. So that's where we're at. Hey,
well, that'd be great too.
So I love your theory because you get a bye week, but I don't know. And I go back to what Kalen DeBoer said last Thursday. Not the new coming coach. Like that's just too much.
Yeah.
So
there's pros and cons to everything.
I think there is. I mean, I'd love to, to be able to expense that. I'd love to be able to tell the IRS, write that off on my taxes. What? You went to London? What are you doing in London? Well, Alabama played on the road.
Yep.
So, hey, McBama, please call back, man. I appreciate you so much.